Hey everybody, this is Nic Chaffee here at the Woodshed, and today I am going to do a quick little demo of the Radial Voco-Loco versus the Eventide mixing link. Now these two pedals are just about the only thing on the market right now that does what they do, which is make it easy for a vocalist or a horn player like myself to patch in and out of guitar effects pedals on stage or in the studio. Before, without one of these pedals, what you would have to do is you would have to put a microphone preamp at the front of your chain, then run cables into your guitar pedals, and then run cables out of the guitar pedals back into a direct box and then into the sound system. Which, you know, it worked fine, but it was a little bit complicated because you're adding a preamp and a direct box to your chain. And also, you were always running through the effects pedals, so you might get a little bit of what they call tone suck by doing that. Now, these pedals have a little switch on them, so you can switch your effects loop on and off. So you can have a completely clean signal right from the preamp into the board, or you can run the effects loop. Now, they do basically the same thing, but this pedal and this pedal have slightly different features, which I'm sure if you do your research, you'll figure that out. There's lots of information on the internet about that. But the one thing that I could not find anything on was the sound of them. And to me, you know, as a horn player, the tone of my instrument is paramount to everything. I want to make sure that I'm running myself through the microphone and the preamp that's going to make me sound the best or the most like myself. So I went ahead and got my hand on both of these, and I figured I would just set up in the studio and do a little quick demo of what the clean preamp sounds like on both of these pedals. Now, of course, I'm a trumpet player, so you'll be hearing trumpet, but I'd imagine you'd get similar responses whether you were using a saxophone or if you were a vocalist. So what I've done is I've got two SM57s right here set up right next to each other. I'm going to be playing right down the middle of them and simultaneously recording the signal out of this Radial Voco-Loco and this Eventide mixing link. All right, so let's check it out. Let's see what happens. Okay, here we go. I wanted to use music that I would actually play on a gig, so my first excerpt is a jazz ballad. Here's what it sounds like on the Voco-Loco. And now the mixing link. Back to the Voco-Loco. And now that same phrase on the mixing link. So far, they sound really similar. If anything, I'd say that the Voco-Loco might have just a tinge more warmth. Let's check it out on something that I'm playing a little louder on. Here's a famous swing melody, first on the Voco-Loco. Now mixing link. Voco-Loco. Mixing link. Let's bounce that back and forth a couple times on that last phrase. Voco-Loco. Mixing link. Radial. Eventide. Looking at the frequency analyzer, I can see that there's just a little bit more low-end information on the Voco-Loco and a little bit smoother roll-off of the highs on the Voco-Loco, which is probably why I'm thinking it sounds warmer. There's also a pronounced dip around 1K on both preamps, and it's a little bit more pronounced on the Radial. For trumpet, that's a frequency that I really don't like, so I like that sound. I can't say that would hold true for vocals or other instruments, though. Switching gears, let's listen to a modern pop horn line on the Radial. I think you recognize this one. Here's the Eventide. Switching back and forth. Radial. Eventide. Voco-Loco. Mixing link. So when I start playing higher and louder, I feel like the difference between the two preamps becomes extremely minimal. I do hear that low mid warmth on the Radial that's not there as much on the Eventide, but I can't say in a live situation that I would ever be able to discern the difference. Moving on, no trumpet demo would be complete without trying out some high notes, so I'm going to finish this off with an Earth, Wind, and Fire song. Here's the Radial. Eventide. Radial. Eventide. Check that out on the Voco-Loco. Mixing link. One more time, Radial. And Eventide. Okay, on those high notes, you can see there's definitely more high-end information on the Eventide preamp than on the Radial preamp. So you may like that, you may not like that. It sounds a little bit brighter, and that's a matter of preference. For me personally, I'd have to say that I like the sound of the Voco-Loco more. However, the sounds are so similar that I would be more inclined to make my buying decision based on the feature set of each preamp as opposed to the actual tone of them. And speaking of those features, as you can see here, the Eventide mixing link has a bit more I/O options than the Voco-Loco, including a headphone out, which is pretty handy whether you're monitoring yourself on stage or just trying to dial in some sounds in your hotel room before a gig. On the other hand, the Voco-Loco has built-in EQ both on the preamp and the effects loop. So if you like the brighter sound that the Eventide seems to come with, I'm sure you could actually dial that in on the Voco-Loco. One other thing that I noticed was it seems like the Eventide has a bit higher gain, and it also has a pad switch. I had to engage the pad switch for my trumpet and then turn the gain way up. But I did notice when I turned the gain to the max, I got a bit of a hiss on the Eventide. That being said, I think the deciding factor would be, do you want the additional I/O of the Eventide unit, or would you prefer the EQ options on the Radial? Anyways, hope that was helpful. And if you have any questions, or if you want to just let me know which one you preferred, please tell me in the comments. If you like the video, like it. If you want more, click subscribe. And I'll see you guys later.